All right, today we're going to be writing equations from tables. So all of our equations are going to be in slope-intercept form, which is that y equals mx plus b form. So we are going to take our table and look for our slope and our y-intercept. So it's almost like we're going to be filling in these blanks. We're going to figure out what number is slope and what number is your y-intercept. So we've been talking a lot about how to graph from a table, graph from an equation, but this part is almost like we're doing the opposite. We're going to find the equation instead of starting with the equation. So we're kind of reversing the process. So again, you want to pause, make sure you get this slide written down. Okay, so this is going to be our first example. I would like you to pause and write down the table before I do the problem. So remember, slope is the change in y over the change in x. So this would be plus 1, plus 1, plus 1 every time on our y. So 4 plus 1 is 5. 5 plus 1 is 6. 6 plus 1 is 7. And then I'm going to do the same thing for x. It also looks like x is adding 1. So in this case, my slope is 1 over 1, which is the same as 1. My y-intercept, so we'll say b, is where x is equal to 0. So if we look at my table, x is equal to 0 here, and y is 4, which makes b equal to 4. So when I write my equation, I'm going to replace m with 1 and b with 4. So this would be y equals 1x plus 4, or you don't have to write the 1, and just do x plus 4. Okay, so there's our first example. Okay, again, go ahead and pause and write this table down. I want to find my slope first. So it looks like for my y's, I'm adding 4 each time. And for my x's, I'm adding 1. So my slope would be 4 over 1, because you put the change in y on top, which is 4. Then my intercept is wherever x is 0. So on this table, right here, x is 0 and y is 8. So my intercept is 8. That would make my equation y equals 4x plus 8. Okay, again, go ahead and pause and write down this table. And this one's going to be a little bit different because we don't have a 0 already on our table. So we're going to talk about what to do about that. So again, I'm going to start by finding my slope. It looks like this is plus 1 each time. And my x is plus 3. So my slope would be 1/3. Okay? Now, since I don't have a 0 for x, I don't know what my intercept is just on my table. So I'm going to show you how to find it if it's not already on your table. So we know that this would be y equals 1/3 x plus b. But we still need to find b. We don't know what it is. So at this point, I'm going to pick a point. And you can pick any point you want. I'm going to pick 3, 5 because they're the smallest and they're easier to work with. So I'm going to plug 5 in for y. That's going to replace it. I'm going to plug in 3 for x. And then we're going to solve. So this is why we worked on solving equations at the beginning of the year. So 1/3 times 3 is 1. And then if I subtract 1, that makes b equal to 4. And that should make some sense. If I squeeze that in here, I'd have 0, 4. That fits my pattern. This would be a +1. This would be a +3. It would be on your table, okay? So my final answer, my equation, would be y equals 1/3 x plus 4, because I have 1/3 for my slope and 4 for my intercept. Okay, we're going to do one more like this. Again, go ahead and pause and write down this table first. Okay, let's find our slope. It looks like our y's are changing by adding 3. And our x's are adding 2. So my slope is 3/2. Then again, you can choose any point you want. I like to choose the smallest positive one I can find. So I'm going to use 2 and 9. So for y, I'm going to plug in a 9. Or here, we have y equals 3/2 x plus b. For y, I'm going to replace that with 9. For x, I'm going to replace that with 2. And if you're not so good at fractions, that's okay, that's normal. But you can always use your calculator. 3/2 times 2 is 3. Now, to get b by itself, I'm going to subtract 3. We get 6 equals b. Okay, and again, that should make some sense. If I squeeze that in here, I have 0, 6. That is adding 3. And that is adding 2. Okay? It would fit in my table. So my final answer is y equals 3/2 x plus 6. Okay, at this point, you can show me your notes. I'm looking for 4 tables and 4 equations, and I will give you your assignment.